Welcome back. We're continuing our fascinating chat about artificial intelligence, its applications, and maybe some of the concerns we should be having in those conversations. And joining me again is Valerie Pisano, CEO of Mila, the Quebec Artificial Intelligence Institute. Just before we cut to commercial break, and I'm sorry we had to end so abruptly, we were discussing about the conversations that need to happen between private sector and public sector, and what conversations should be taking place and what that discussion should look like, so that those safeguards should be in place when we talk about AI and what we want it to do.
Yes, exactly. And I think one thing we can celebrate is we've accelerated that conversation. We've bumped it up to the top. So AI, was on the agenda of the G7 meeting last week. So it's definitely happening. Is it fast enough relative to the speed at which AI is now being developed and deployed? That remains to be seen.
Yes, I was going to say, can we, as humans, keep up with AI as it rapidly develops? I don't know. What steps could governments be taking immediately in the short term to protect the public for those of us who have concerns? Or, I recall reading in the newspaper recently that the AI could mimic someone's voice to the point when they're making a phone call that we think that we're actually speaking to someone, but in fact, we're not. We're speaking to the AI. What kind of immediate safeguards could governments put in place?
Yeah, in the immediate, I think there are two things that need to happen. First is we already have rules and regulations and governance in place, and we should be looking through the lens of these safeguards at this new AI and trying to figure out if it works or not. So, for example, the privacy commissioners right now are looking at this from a data privacy perspective. The second is exactly the one you mentioned. We live in a society where it is illegal to counterfeit money. It should be illegal to counterfeit people. At a minimum, if something is AI, it should say so. It should be very clear from the moment I start interacting with the chatbot or the moment I hear the song that this is AI generated. We cannot afford to pivot into a world where essentially we're never sure if what we're seeing is reality or not. And that is something governments should be taking action on sooner than later.
I agree. I am very concerned. Again, reading that story, I'm very concerned. I even told my children, I said, make sure you're talking to me if I call you on the phone, because with AI, I don't know for a fact that would be me, and it could be mimicking my voice. I'm on television. You're obviously on television. AI could pull our voices from anywhere. So tell us about Federal Bill C-27.
Yes, so Bill C-27 is an effort to put some of these safeguards in place surrounding AI in general. And what we like about it is that it basically states principles. And as the technology evolves, gives us the flexibility and agility in the actual regulations and standards to adapt to the different versions or kinds or potentials of AI in the years to come. Now, of course, part of the challenge right now is as society, and this is probably a good thing in general, it takes a certain time to agree on laws and, pass them and make them, actually something that exists in everyday life. And in the best of scenarios, Bill C-27 will be active in 2025. AI is coming about very, very quickly. And so part of what we're hoping this conversation will do is accelerate a bit of the timeline so that at least pieces of this start falling into place before AI becomes a bit like social media, something that is there, that is part of our daily lives, and something we never really took the time to frame or govern.
And I think that would ultimately make Canadians and people in the universe in general more comfortable with AI if we know that there are some safeguards and a very strict framework in which AI can operate. Recently, Canadian privacy regulators are currently at work investigating an unspecified complaint about whether chatbot GPT inappropriately collects, uses, or discloses data of Canadians without their consent. Is this a real concern? We have about half a minute.
It is, yes, absolutely. And we salute this effort. These systems train on data, and data is basically information we're giving them. So it's important to make sure that if we've decided on certain values or principles and how our data can get collected and used, that is respected by these new AI tools that are being rolled out.
And if AI is used by nefarious actors, where could this end up? We have about 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's a really important international collaboration. It's being described as a dual use tool that could do incredible good, for example, in climate change and health, and could do a lot of harm in the wrong hands. And that is a conversation that absolutely needs to happen.
Okay, Ms. Pisano, thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.